Welcome to the Seth Thibodeaux Show, featuring the head coach of Nicholls State University Baseball, Seth Thibodeaux. Today's program is presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional, dedicated to patient-centered excellence. The Seth Thibodeaux Show is also sponsored by Rouse's Supermarkets. You're either local or you're not. And by People's Health, your Medicare health team. Good afternoon. Welcome to the season finale of the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim, alongside the Southland Conference Head Coach of the Year, Seth Thibodeaux. Congratulations again, my friend.
Thank you, Wags.
The season coming to an end this past week. I know a little bit sooner than you would have liked, but
Sure.
Just so many great things emerged from 2014 for this Colonel baseball
program. Several standards were set and goals were met and exceeded, and we did a lot of great things and accomplished a lot of goals. And yes, some things were left out there, but I'll enjoy what we did accomplish.
We want to talk about the final weekend of the regular season, and then we'll head into the Southland Conference Tournament. Nicholls with a shot at a share of the regular season championship heading into the final series of the year. It would have been your first ever in Southland Conference history as far as the Nicholls Colonels program is concerned. You did what you needed to do on your part. Your players did what they needed to do. Unfortunately, you just didn't get the help you needed from around the league, but it doesn't lessen the weekend that the team had.
Absolutely, and anytime, I don't know if you can draw it up any better, you're playing for a chance to win a championship on day 56 of the game 56 of the season. That's where you want to be, and you're doing it at home in front of a great crowd. What an exciting time. But for our guys to do their part and hold their end of the bargain, very proud of what they did with a killer instinct, the right mindset, and a very hungry attitude.
Now, the Colonels needed a sweep on the final weekend of the regular season. They defeated McNeese in the first two games. So heading into the final day of the season, the Colonels needed a win over McNeese and a Corpus Christi victory at Sam Houston to grab a share of the Southland Conference title. Now, that day also served as commencement day here on campus. But because the baseball team was playing, Nicholls graduating seniors couldn't participate. So commencement came to them. University President Bruce Murphy joined other administrators at Didier Field to present diplomas to the 7 graduating members of the team. Just a really great event here.
What an honor it was, and for for Dr. Murphy, our president, to do it the way he did, as organized as he was, and how much it meant to him. You could see that through the kids noticed that, their parents noticed that. It was just a really neat deal, and I really look forward to doing this again. A special day for our program, for our players, to get their diploma in uniform on the field with Dr. Murphy right there with them was just a really special time.
I didn't notice it until I went back and watched the video. Brandon Jackson, who started the game on the mound, got his diploma, and as others were getting theirs, he had to run back into the bullpen to get warmed up.
Sprint right back down there to get ready for the game. And I asked him, I told him, Brandon, you can do whatever you want. It's your day. You're starting senior time, a chance to get your diploma. You do what you want. He said, Coach, I'd really like to get my diploma, but then I'm going to run back down and get ready. So it was really neat.
Such a cool event. Let's turn our attention to the big game. Brandon Jackson gets his start, but an error opens the door to a first-inning run for the Cowboys. Reed Gordy with a 2-out RBI single. That, though, would be the only run allowed by Jackson in his 6 innings of work out on the hill. So let's head on to the top half of the third. The leadoff man reaches, but David Zorn robs Chase Marion and turns it into a 3-6-3 double play. Currently, Nicholls is third in the nation in twin killings this year. So Zorn helps him turn 2. Bottom third, the red and gray breakthrough against spot starter Cole Prejean. Seth Stevens clangs his offering off the right field wall. It drives in Leo Vargas, who had reached on a bunt hit. Ball game tied at 1. A pair of doubles in the contest for Seth Stevens. Jackson getting some help from his defense again here in the fourth. With a man in scoring position, Darius Knight absolutely robs Andrew Guillot with a diving catch in center. Nicholls committed 1 error all weekend. They were brilliant defensively. Jackson finishes strong, retiring 9 of the final 10 Cowboys he faced. Billy Summers goes down looking in the 6th. Jackson allows 6 hits with a walk and 6 Ks in 6 frames. We are still tied at 1 into the 8th inning now. Stephen O'Brien on the mound for McNeese. 2 runners in scoring position, and senior Tyler Duplantis rips one over the head of the shortstop Connor Lloyd. It chases in Stevens. Nicholls up 2-1. Duplantis goes 4 for 4 with a double and a triple. O'Brien walks the next 2 Colonels, forcing in Christian Correa to make it 3-1. McNeese looks to get out of the inning on a Phillip Lyons grounder. They can't turn 2. Lyons legs out the fielder's choice. Duplantis scores, and it's 4-1. It brings up another senior here, Leo Vargas. And Leo delivering just like every senior did on Saturday. Base hit to left, plating David Zorn, a 4-run, 4-hit eighth for the Colonels. They take a 5-1 advantage into the ninth inning on our just 3 outs away from a series sweep of the Cowboys. McNeese got a 2-out RBI hit from James Cantu, but Mark Picciola, another senior, induces a 5-3 bounce out by Jackson Gooch. Colonels complete the sweep. Outstanding all-around effort. Unfortunately, Sam Houston cleaned the Islanders' clocks in Huntsville. Nichols winds up in second place in the league standings. Coach, I know you told your team after the game, we may not have won a championship today, but you guys played like champions.
They absolutely did. They held up their end of the bargain. They were hungry. They played the way they were coached to play for the last 4 years. And they played with a championship in mind, and that's what we want here. That's what we have coached here. That's what Coach Prothro has instilled in our pitching staff. They were hungry for it. Great crowd. That's exactly what we envisioned Nicholls State baseball to be when we first took over here. And that day was exactly what we want out of this program every single time we step on the field, but every year. When we're playing our final home game, we want it to have very meaningful aspirations on the line, so to speak, and that's exactly what it's come to be.
It's good to see, too. So here's how the final regular season standings shook out. Sam Houston State finished 1 game ahead of the Colonels. Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Northwestern State end up 2 back. Central Arkansas made a big run to qualify for the league tournament. McNeese got in as well. Lamar clinched the final berth on the last day of the regular season. They did so by beating Oral Roberts, the Golden Eagles season coming to an end, along with 5 other teams finishing below the Cardinals. And heading into the league tournament, Coach, we knew it would be anybody's chance up for grabs. All 8 teams were capable of going in there and taking the title.
You could have told me any one of the 8 were going to win the tournament, and I would not have been shocked. And that's the type of league we have, and that's the type of baseball we play in this league. And so it was up for grabs for anyone. And usually the team with that eliminates the mistakes, gets the big 2-out hit, and pitches it and plays defense, usually runs through this thing.
So let's take a look here. Nichols back in the league tournament for the first time since 2011. As the 2 seed, they faced the 7 seed in the first round, and that happened to be McNeese State. Let's go to Bear Stadium Wednesday afternoon. Ryan Deems gets the start and runs into trouble in the first. The first 2 Cowboys reach, and with 1 out, Chase Marion delivers a sacrifice fly. Andrew Guillat would score easily. James Cantu moving up to third. McNeese is out in front. Deems will get the next batter out, but not before a wild pitch here allows Cantu to cross 2-0 in favor of the Pokes. Deems maneuvered in and out of trouble over the next couple of innings. McNeese ace Caleb Fontenot was outstanding, and the Colonels gave him way too much help. A few base running blunders, including a missed sign here by Christian Correa. He's caught stealing. Nichols ran themselves into too many outs in this one. Into the 5th, Zach Thiak relieves Deems, and Jackson Gooch tags him for the RBI hit as Guillat scores. It's 3-0 in favor of McNeese State. And unfortunately, this would add to the problems coming up here. Leading off the 8th, Gooch takes John Satriano over the left field fence. It was Satriano's only blemish in 2 1/3 innings of relief. 3rd home run of the year for Gooch, and Nichols in a big pickle. But they answer the bell in the bottom half of the 8th. Seth Stevens taking advantage of an erratic Tyler Erickson out of the pen. The double into the bullpen. It's the 4th 2-bagger in 2 games for Seth. Darius Knight and David Zorn score, and the deficit is cut in half. But Chase Marion snags Christian Correa's line drive here and doubles up Stevens to end the threat. The rally is thwarted. Corey Lapese gets Brandon Jackson to hit into a double play coming up here in the 9th, and the ball game is over. McNeese with a 4-2 victory, sending the Colonels into the losers bracket. By the way, 13 games were played in this tournament. The better seeded team lost 8 of them. Coach, it's tough to beat a team 4 times in the course of a week.
Sure it is, and to beat them 7 times in a row. We had swept McNeese 2 years in a row, and you could see it. Those guys were hungry for it. They played good baseball. They were ready to play. I still feel like we had some opportunities. We had 4 base running mistakes. That could have been 3 or 4 runs there. So we didn't help ourselves out at all, and that was a frustrating thing. And that was some newness of being in the postseason. That was some guys making mistakes that hadn't been in those situations before at that time in the season where you can't make mistakes. So next time when those guys are in those moments next year, we'll know that those mistakes won't be made. But you just can't make base running mistakes or any type of mistakes in the postseason when you haven't really made those mistakes in the last month. that's where you kind of find out what type of postseason club you are.
Yeah, it was definitely uncharacteristic of this ball club. The Colonels would play again on Thursday with their season on the line, taking on the Islanders of Texas A&M Corpus Christi for the first time all year. Corpus went into the final weekend of the regular season with a chance to win the championship as well. They finished in third place. Nichols wasted no time. Leo Vargas jumping on lefty Trevor Belichick. The long ball is Leo's third of the year. Solo shot puts the Colonels on top. One of 2 hits on the day for Vargas as he tries to extend his career. Almost runs over the umpire trying to get to home plate here. So Leo rounds the bases in the top of the first, but in the bottom half of the inning, Corpus registers 3 straight one-out hits off of Grant Bourne. The last of those is an RBI single by Kyle Danford. It plates Russell Vaughn, and the contest is tied at 1. Danford delivered a couple of hits over the afternoon. Bourne goes on to retire 8 of the next 9. He gets Zacharias Hardy to bounce into the double play. Nice play by both Tyler Duplantis at third and David Zorn with a tag at first. So the Colonels get out of the inning without any further damage. Let's head to the fourth. 2 on with 2 gone, and Justin Smith smacks one up the middle. Around comes Christian Correa. He would score, and Nichols back in control, leading this thing by a score of 2-1. But in the home half of the inning, a Jacob Hubert double play ball coming up here would score Jordan Lee, and we are square again. It is 2-2 after 4 innings, and the Colonels trying to find ways to make things happen. Unfortunately, Nichols lets it slip away here in the 5th. A fielding error and a catcher's interference call helps load the bases for Lee. He sneaks Bourne's offering over the head of Vargas at short. Vaughn scores. Islanders on top 3-2. Could have been much worse, but Bourne gets the next 2 batters. He fans Tyler Ware to retire the side as Corpus leaves him loaded. Bourne surrenders 8 hits and 2 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings with a walk and 3 strikeouts. Colonels have a shot in the 8th, but Jacob Doris slams the door shut, getting Justin Smith swinging as Nichols strands runners at the corners. Doris was a machine, fanning all 4 batters he faced. Vargas rung up here to end the game. Corpus advances with a 3-2 win. The Colonels' year, meanwhile, coming to an end. And Coach, it just seems so premature based on how things have gone over the first 56 games.
No question about it. That was a humbling blow. It's something the sting won't leave me for a while, probably until we get returned there again next year. But it makes you better. The sting of it does. And the frustrating part is Grant pitched really well. We left 9 or 10 guys in scoring position when we should have drove in some runs. We needed that big hit. Keith Cormier had the bases loaded and absolutely blows one up to right field. If it's 2 feet to the right or left to the right fielder, it's a different baseball game. And also the way they scored with an error and a catcher's interference and a bleeder over the shortstop. Just 3 things that never happened to us and happened, and that was a frustrating. And that's something we got to make sure it never happens again.
Coach, I know you still told your team on the way home you're proud of this bunch. What are you going to remember from this year?
Breaking the barrier, breaking the mental anchor, not letting anything get in their way. I'll always remember the first 30-win season in 21 years. That's not really what we're shooting for. We're shooting for way more than that. But for them to overcome the mental barrier of it not being able to be done, and then for them to be playing for a championship on the last day of the season, that sets a standard for everything coming up for the future.
So many positives from this year. The Colonels' first winning record since 2002. As Coach mentioned, the first 30-win campaign since 1993. The pitching staff led the league in earned run average and strikeouts. Taylor Bird among 5 Colonels to earn all Southland honors. Bird wins Pitcher of the Year, and Coach Tibb is the league's Coach of the Year. So many individual awards, but also just the team aspect. This team came together this year.
Absolutely. Every time that they had to respond from something tough, they always did. There was some great leaders in that group, some guys that accomplished some great things. They were a determined group. They were determined to change the culture. They were determined to make it happen forever, and they knew that right away. They knew they had a chance to win a championship right away, and for us to be playing for it then was special. But for them to set a school record for conference wins and something that'll be tough to always beat, and do a couple of other things, it was special to turn the double plays we turned, to be the best pitching staff in the league again. That was fun, and that's something that our guys expect when they come back here next year.
The Colonels become the first Southland Conference team ever to go from fewer than 10 league wins in one year to more than 20 the next. It had never been done before, so certainly a foundation to build upon. We'll be right back with more of the Seth Thibodeaux Show presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional in just a moment.
You may know Thibodaux Regional was the first hospital in the region to take a leadership role in athletic safety. But did you know they're the only hospital in the region to offer advanced concussion testing technology? That their certified athletic trainers assist high schools with team event coverage, and that they provide prevention education to coaches, athletes, and parents? TJ Boudreau knows they're here for athletes of all ages. Parents, coaches, and athletes know Thibodaux Regional Medical Center for expert, compassionate care.
Well, we're all about the people that we care for. Every day we find a way to make your life better, that's what we're here for. Yeah, we're all about the people. We help you take care of yourself. That's what we do. We're here for you with people's health.
Back here with you on the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional, as we wrap up the 2014 season and look ahead to 2015 here. What's the next step for this program, Coach?
Making sure that we continue to compete for a championship and get our RPI together so that we win 35 to 40 games. We don't want to give any games away. We have a tough schedule next year. We have Stony Brook and Utah added to our schedule next year, and preseason Southern Miss as well. So we have a really tough schedule ahead of us. We got to make sure we take care of business and compete on a high level all the time, not just in spurts, and compete to win 35 to 40 plus games, compete again to win a conference championship, and just do whatever it takes to take the program to the next level.
I don't think competition has ever really been a problem for you.
Yeah.
You're willing to take on all comers, and 2 national seeds in the regionals were on the Colonel's schedule this year for a total of 3 games.
Absolutely, and don't expect anything different, and we're going to continue to do that because it makes us better. But we got to compete to beat those teams as well.
All right. Well, there are many unsung heroes of the Colonel's turnaround this year. Alex Tullis found a few of them in their familiar place at Didier Field.
When someone attends a Nichols baseball game, much of their focus is on the players out in the field. However, it's tough not to notice the colorful collection of dedicated fans who can be found down the right field line, showing their support week after week, season after season. The group is known as the Coaches Committee, consisting of longtime program supporters along with family of current and former Colonel players. They have taken on the responsibility of preparing and cooking post-game meals for the team, as well as other tasks. One parent, Mitch Thompson, was instrumental in forming this association.
We started coming to the games, and I noticed that nobody was feeding the kids after the game. So me and a few other daddies got together a couple times, and we would cook hamburgers, and they enjoyed it. And so we started cooking more.
While the original idea revolved around a dinner for the team, the crew has evolved into much more than that for both the program as well as those involved with the committee.
I think Coaches Committee is a way to help recruits, help recruiting, help show these kids' parents that there's something more to Nichols baseball than just baseball. We try to provide a fun environment for them, a safe environment. We cook for them, we entertain them. It's just something added on to what Seth and his crew already did.
With their bird's eye view of the Nichols dugout, the Coaches Committee creates a festive atmosphere for all to enjoy. The flock is always looking to expand and welcomes anyone who wants to join.
A lot of what we do is word of mouth. We always try to bring more people to the games every year. Friends that we have, connections that we have, former graduates of Nichols. And we always try to bring them out to this side first, to the right field side first, so they can see how much fun it is. And once they understand what's involved and what we try to do to give back to the players, it seems to attract more people that way.
The coaching staff and players alike appreciate the efforts and dedication of their fan base in making their time at Nichols special. The tireless efforts of the Coaches Committee in igniting support and sharing fellowship with the team have become an important part of Nichols baseball. For the Seth Thibodeaux Show, I'm Alex Tullis.
Thank you very much, Alex. We appreciate it. Mike Wagenheim back here with you alongside the associate head coach and recruiting coordinator for the Colonel Baseball Program, Chris Prothro. And we've looked back on 2014, Coach. Now it's time to look ahead to 2015 in the recruiting class coming in here. And we'll run through them one through one here. I want to start with Alex Ernestine. What can you tell us about Alex?
Well, Alex is a physical left-handed pitcher. He's about 6'5". He's from North Broward Prep down in Coconut Creek, Florida. He's got a lot of upside to him. He's a mid-80s lefty with a couple different pitches right now and has a real chance to develop into something special. Right away, he's going to help us right away, but developmentally-wise, he's got a chance to be very good.
Meanwhile, we'll take a look as well at Trent Giambrone. What can you tell us about Trent?
Trent's very athletic. He can run. Trent was drafted out of high school. He's a Grace King product that was drafted out of high school by the Dodgers, went to junior college for some academic purposes, and he's got a chance to be an athletic defender in the middle, can run, can hit a little bit, and he's a very, very hard worker, and he has a chance to be a leader for us when he steps on campus.
And one of many Louisiana natives on this
Absolutely. We do the best we can to keep it local if we can.
Evan Heilman, I know, a very highly top prospect, another local guy.
He is from John Curtis High School. Those guys made a run into the semifinals of the state championship this past spring, and Evan's a competitor on the mound. He's not very big. He's about 5'9", but what he makes up for his lack of size is he's a competitor. He's got good stuff. The fastball's good, mid to upper 80s with a chance to be in the 90s at some point with a good breaking ball. But the competitive nature is what's huge with Evan.
Now we see him working both his fastball and his breaking ball there on the highlights. That's Evan Heilman pitching recently in New Orleans. Kyle Noth, another member of the recruiting class. What can you tell us about Kyle?
Kyle's from Lakeshore High School. Very, very good student. High GPA, high ACT, and a very high upside as far as baseball is concerned as well. Strong. He's probably about 6'2", 210 pounds with some arm strength behind the plate. Does a good job receiving and has a real chance to be a good hitter at the college level with a bat. Left-handed hitter with some strength. So he's going to come in and push some guys. I expect him to be in the mix, in the lineup right away when he steps on campus.
And another Kyle in the mix as well, Kyle Reese.
And Kyle Reese, transfer from Alabama Southern Community College. I think we've done this a couple of times now. We always tend to have an Alabama Southern guy. That connection there has been strong for us in the past, and those guys come in with a chip on their shoulder. They work hard. They play hard. They made a run. They were one game away from playing in the World Series in Grand Junction this past spring, and Kyle's a very, very good offensive player. Where he fits in defensively, some third base, second base, maybe some first. He's a utility type of infielder, but he can really hit. He's got a good plan at the plate. Left-handed hitter.
And you go outside the mainland to find Eric Santiago, plays his community college ball in New Mexico, but a native of Puerto Rico.
A native of Puerto Rico is a good defensive player, very athletic, very good runner. He's got some bloodlines there. His dad played in AAA. So we expect him to come in and be an anchor for us defensively at the shortstop position. Losing Leo and obviously Phillip Lyons and Tyler Duplantis on the infield, we've got to replace some leadership there, and we expect big things from Eric.
Meanwhile, Bladen Shake Snyder, a product of Santa Mont. Shake Snyder and Santa Mont, those go together like peanut butter and jelly.
You probably knew where he was from when you saw his last name, definitely. Bladen's going to be a really good player. He's a shortstop for Santa Mont. Those guys made a run to the state semifinals as well this past spring. Offensively, he's going to be a very, very nice player. Left-handed hitter. He's really filled out his body. He's about 6'2", 200 pounds right now. We might have to get him to trim down a little bit. He's getting a little too having too much of an affinity for the weight room right now, possibly. But very athletic, can run, and we expect him to hit right when he steps on campus.
And closing out the recruiting class, actually one of your earlier signees, Gavin Webby.
Well, Gavin was really the first one to commit this year. He played some summer ball over with Marucci this summer in the Baton Rouge and New Orleans area from Pensacola Catholic High School in Pensacola, Florida. It's part of a program that went 30-0 and won a state championship, and I think a Max Preps national championship, one of those mythical national titles as a junior, and then those guys returned to the state championship game this past year, and Gavin was a huge reason why. Left-handed hitter, can really, really run, might step on campus to be the fastest guy on our team, and has a lot of upside offensively, defensively. It's just a great kid. Another high academic, high GPA, high ACT, is on some academic money here. So we're very excited. He was one of the first ones, and we're still excited about him, I'll tell you that much. He's going to be a really good player.
And you talk about all the time recruiting for winning programs. You want to bring in guys who know how to win, who are used to that culture, who have those expectations. Webby and Alex Ernestine actually played against each other in the Florida State semifinals a few weeks ago.
They did. They played against each other, and Alex was shoving it in there pretty good on him, and if it wasn't for a rain delay that lasted about an hour and a half, I think those guys from North Broward might have moved past Pensacola. So he was up 3-0 after 4 innings. Rain came in. They had to bring somebody else in. And believe it or not, Gavin actually got the last out on the mound. He's not going to pitch here, but it just shows you kind of what he's capable of athletically, that he was able to get the last out on the mound for those guys. And, yeah, we want guys from winning programs. We want winning players, guys that have the right work ethic, the right character, that do the right things in the classroom. That total package is what we want to develop here so that there are expectations when we get here that we're playing for championships. But that's not just on the field. That's in the classroom. That's in the community when we do community service. And we've tried to tailor our recruiting to fix that idea.
And no matter whether you're trying to recruit in the college or build a professional program, you always have to strike that balance between what are our needs and who is the best available player regardless of need. How do you strike that balance?
Well, we're always looking for best available, and it makes it easier for us on the mound with pitchers is that we don't really try to pigeonhole guys into roles as we're recruiting them or before they get here. So we're not looking necessarily for a guy that has to be able to start or a guy that has to be able to close or be a reliever. We want the best stuff that we can get. Will we have an idea of who could possibly be a starter? Sure, but we're looking for best available stuff. Same thing in the position player ranks, that we're always going to need a couple of outfielders. We're always going to need a couple of infielders. This year just so happened we're going to need a bunch of infielders because we had seniors there at most of our positions. And behind the plate, you always are probably going to sign one guy at minimum to be able to have good players at each position. So what we're trying to do every year when we recruit is to build depth. Things happen, injuries, sicknesses, illnesses, things happen. We need good depth to be able to fill that out.
All right, Coach, we appreciate all the insight. By the way, for folks that don't know, Coach Pro, also the pitching coach, did a phenomenal job this year, led the league in ERA and strikeouts, and just great job all around. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. We got good players, Wags. That's what happens when you got good players.
Associate Head Coach Chris Prothro. We'll take a timeout, come back and wrap things up on the other side. Back here with you on the Seth Thibodeaux Show. Time to announce our Rouse's Student Athlete of the Week. This week it's Leo Vargas. Had a home run and a base hit as well in the Southland Conference Tournament. Leo graduating, moving on, but his contributions will not be forgotten here with the Colonel Baseball program. That is going to put a wrap on the 2014 season. For Alex Tellis, Tiffany Williams, and the crew, we'll talk to you again next year. Today's show has been presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional, dedicated to patient-centered excellence. This program has also been sponsored by Rouse's Supermarkets. You're either local or you're not. And People's Health, your Medicare health team. This has been a presentation of the Colonel Sports Network.